Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about something a little more specific, which is that your academic intelligence does not define your own intelligence. Okay, this is very important. Let's get into it. We've all been there, or maybe most of us, thinking that we were stupid because we couldn't do certain things in school, certain subjects, or maybe all of them. You had teachers telling you about it. They will call your parents, telling you how bad your grades were, and basically that you were not very intelligent. First of all, how dare them? A teacher cannot go to a parent and be like, your student, your son, your daughter, your child is not that bright. Yeah, that's weird. Okay. But then you have students. The student, especially that have good grades or they're like A's everywhere, and they treat you inferior because of your grades. Because they think in their own minds that academic intelligence means your own intelligence. They mix them up. And they treat you in that way because the teachers treat you that way. Because their parents would treat you that way. Because they were taught in a home, in their friend groups, clubs they go in, like tennis club, golf club, if you're not good at what you're doing, it means that you're stupid. Well, let me tell you, no, it does not mean that. In psychology, we have a theory that there are multiple types of intelligence. You have a general intelligence, and then you have something completely different, which is called academic intelligence. Obviously, there's a lot more than that. Right, but we're going to focus on these two. General intelligence, academic intelligence. Two different things, right? And if you're bad at school, if you don't like school, if you generally have bad grades in school, simply because you don't like studying, does not mean you're stupid. It does not mean that outside of school, outside of that academic structure, and you go out and you explain things to people, and you do certain tasks, it does not mean that you're going to do them badly, because it does not correlate in any way. Sure, it can influence your future, especially nowadays. If you have bad grades in school, it can influence your entry to university. It can influence the jobs that you can have in the future. That's not what I'm saying, right? This is something completely different. It is related though. It is quite related. That's not what I'm talking about. Because this is what they actually mix up when they're judging you. They're judging you on the fact that you're basically not caring about that life in the future. And they see it as stupidity. But is it though? Some people generally do not wish to go to university. Some people like to go in the military, for example. Some people generally just want to do labor work. Some people just want to work after graduating high school, secondary school, whatever you call it. So wait. Is it because you wouldn't do this that it triggers you so much? Maybe. But is it really the case of you needing to genuinely be mad about it? Of genuinely needing to judge people about it? What does it matter in any way if they want to do this as their choice? And you need to respect it. Especially if it's someone you barely know. And then you judge them and you're like, oh, barely have good grades. Not going to university. It sounds a little bit old school. Not sure who could have possibly told you that. I think a parent, maybe. Both parents. An aunt, a grandma, family, right? But you really need to detach yourself from this if you're someone who generally judges too fast about these kind of things. You really need to detach yourself because nowadays there's a lot of ways of making money. And I'm telling you, a lot about it is social media. People genuinely either drop out of university or do not go to university to either be in the arts, so being an actor, being a singer, or being an influencer, and it works. Do you know the amount of people who are actors and singers nowadays that have not gone to university? And generally they tell you in interviews that they have not gone or they have not even finished high school. And you can see the way they talk. They talk perfectly fine. You can see there's an internal intelligence, general intelligence there that is already there because you're born with it. They did not need that academic intelligence for them to succeed in that specific area. Does that make them stupid? No. It actually makes them quite strategists, if you're being honest with me. Now, you are someone who had gone through that little bit of a judgment, or we can even say bullying, because sometimes it was considered bullying, you know, like they come to you and they're like, you are stupid because I just heard that you did not do well on that test. Well, I can't be friends with you because you're fucking stupid. Let me tell you something. These type of people are going to go to university, whatever university they go to, a really good one, a lower one, it does not matter. And at the end of the day, they are going to get the same jobs as you, because these recruiters, most of them anyway, they don't care about which university you went to. They don't specifically care about the type of grades you got. You know what they care about? They care about experience, especially unpaid experience. That's what they care about. They don't care you went to Cambridge University. They don't care that you got all A's. University will, but not those recruiters. You're gonna get the same jobs after all. You know how you're not going to get the same jobs, but that could be a different video for another day, is contacts. That is when you're going to get a different scale. But that's another video for another day, right? But if you guys are on the same level, just having different grades, you went to different universities, you approximately did the same thing, just at different levels, you're gonna get the same jobs. Because even if he went to a really, really, really good university, he's still going to get the shittiest job at the end because he's new to that career. Same as you. You're gonna get the shittiest job first because you're new to that career as well. Nobody's gonna put you really, really high unless you have contacts. Unless. But if you don't, no matter where you went to university, they are going to put you in the shittiest job anyway. Because this is how it works. And this is what I've been telling people. But nobody listens. And then they get really lost in life because they start to realize that I was right. You are not going to be kissed on the feet just because you went to a really, really prestigious school. Your parents might, but not those recruiters. They're gonna look at you and be like, boy, I've been here for 20 years. What do you want from me? I don't give a shit about you. You went to who? I don't give a fuck. Get in line. You're not the only one who wants a job at the moment. Especially nowadays, like, the work market is saturated. It does not matter what you went to school. It does not matter. Now, will these people agree still that academic intelligence does not find your own intelligence? No. Because in their mindset, especially if they feel lost, is because they either are still in denial on the fact that they worked so hard when they were teenagers just to end up in the same level as you, or they're starting to realize it, but it's really, really hard to swallow, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all gonna get the same jobs. Sure, a lot of people that you have been with in high school might not do the same careers as you, right? I want to be a neuropsychologist. If one of them want to be a physicist, if one of them want to be, I don't know, anything else, it cannot be really compared. But as levels of jobs, you're going to get the same things. And a lot of them actually are simply not going to work. Do you know the amount of people I know from high school who have gone to university? Some, and I say some, have done masters and now they don't work. A lot of them. A lot of them. And they were the types to judge you if you have bad grades. I never really got triggered by these types of looks, glares, judgment, because I knew what I wanted in life. These people didn't. And that is the big difference between us, is that they were only focused about having good grades without even thinking. My mom always told me, if you don't know what you want, at least you need to know what you do not want. And then you can just divide them and see which one you stay with. And that's what I did. Maybe I had better judgment than some people. Maybe I had better guidance than some of these people. But they were genuinely thinking only about good grades without even thinking if they liked their subjects or not. They were just thinking, I need to have good grades, and that's it. Cool. But what do you like about them? That's when you lost them. They look at you and they're like, well, I just need a good grade. And I'm like, okay, but what do you like about it? Do you like anything about that subject? Why are you doing it in university if you don't like it? You're supposed to like what you're doing. You're supposed to choose something that you like. Now, if you want to do it for the money, sure, do it. But you need to tell me why you're going to make a lot of money about it. And some people just cannot tell you why. Because the only thing they were taught is to be good about it. And never think about what actually are the advantages of that specific subject or that specific area that they were going to spend their entire life on them. And then you will expect me to argue with these people? No. Because I knew what I wanted in life. And my mom told me that she was exactly the same as me. She didn't like school. She didn't like going to school. Didn't like studying. And we both ended up fine at the end of the day. Because university is an entire world differently. And then when you mature in those ages, sure, in university, you have a different mindset that you had when you were in high school, in secondary school. It doesn't matter in which way you call it. But there is for someone who did not like school. Because you might not have liked school when you were a teenager, but you might actually start to like it when you are in university because it's a different, very different environment. Nothing to do with one another. And when you know those teachers in high school that would tell you how bad university would be, and it turns out to be even chiller than anything else, there you go. There you go. And that's perfectly fine. Does that define your own intelligence in any way? No. No, it doesn't. You are still someone who would be extremely intelligent regardless of the choices that you have made when you were a teenager or if you're a teenager now. You don't like school, you don't like school. You don't have to like it. And the fact that you had bad grades does not mean that you generally did not care about school either. If you don't understand a subject, we don't understand a subject. And that is okay. It does not mean that you're stupid. It does not mean that there's something wrong with you. It simply means that sometimes for human beings, we understand things that others wouldn't. And we don't understand things that the other people would. And that is life. I'm sure there are a lot of things that you can do that those A students cannot do. And that would be practical things in life. Because they're really good at academic stuff. But when it goes to practical things in life, that's when you lose them. And you're actually the opposite. And that is okay. And you might very much be sure that they are envious of the fact that you can do these things. Even if they don't tell you about it. Even if they never will. Because they don't. The people who have really A's in school will never tell you about their own failures. So they won't tell you that they're envious of the fact that you can do something really practical and they can't. So yeah, deep breaths. It's gonna be okay. Like, I know a lot of people were insecure about this type of things because, you kind of feel really exposed when you have bad grades. You really feel like you're the only one. You really feel like there's something wrong with you. You feel really overwhelmed about this type of subjects. You genuinely think that some of these subjects should not be taught at school. I did too. I was thinking like, how is this gonna help me in life? And it still didn't. I stopped doing these subjects and then I was like, they did not help you in any way. But if we have to do them, we have to do them. And then in university, we actually find things that we like. And everything will be okay. And then we're going to stop thinking about these people who generally thought anything about you. Because at the end of the day, as I said, you're going to get the same jobs. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. I hope that you like this video. I hope that it was helpful for some people. I may have missed a few things that I could have said, honestly, but the most important things is that it reassures you and that actually heals a little part of yourself that was extremely insecure about this, you know, like this side of yourself, thinking that you're stupid, thinking that you always have to impress people because you genuinely feel like a failure. You're not. Just because some teachers or some students have said something to you does not make you a failure, okay? So, thank you. Honestly. And if it's something that I will talk about or something that I wish to talk about, then I will. You can follow my Instagram, my TikTok, and also this YouTube channel. Thank you, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.